Here with Northwestern State women's basketball coach Jordan Dupuy, the Lady Demons kick off conference play starting Wednesday down in Thibodaux against Nichols before coming home Saturday to face McNeese. And Coach, I think you mentioned it on the way back home from Texas. Non-conference is out of the way. This is the time you want to start playing well. And before the break, you mentioned this was a time you'd like to see a lot of growth. I think going into conference play, you've seen that.
Yeah, I think we have. You take the games that we've played on the road. The Arkansas, Oklahoma, Southern Miss, Texas. I mean, those are some big time opponents, and so you shouldn't go on the road in conference and feel intimidated, especially when we've had some success against those type of teams. We're still turning people over. That's become our identity. That's how we're going to have to play. You look at the end of the Texas game, outscoring them in the fourth quarter. Playing against their top 8 players the entire game, causing 2 backcourt violations, forcing more turnovers than we had. We had more assists than turnovers there, shot 48%. So a lot of good positive things that hopefully we can keep rolling. And our practices this week in preparation for Nichols have been really good too. So hopefully we'll gel, play extremely well, and give ourselves a chance in Thibodaux.
Well, you'll go face a team or you go from facing a team, as you mentioned, you talked about after the game, it seemed like they played a lot more than 8 players. Very good top to bottom. Now you're going to go face perhaps one of the more unique players in the league in terms of what she's able to do up and down the court, and that's Cassidy Barrios down at Nichols. She presents a little bit more of a challenge, but one I think you've seen through the first couple of years in this league that you've had some similar opponents.
There's no doubt. She's just a great player, knows how to play, high IQ, long, athletic, has done a great job of developing every single year. She's a player that I've known for a long time, recruited her when we were at Southern Miss. But she just does a little bit of everything for her team, whatever they need at any moment. She can play 4 different positions, can handle it, can shoot it at all 3 levels, has post moves. So, again, very, very tough matchup, but there's some things that we're going to try and do to help us out that will hopefully limit what she can do. But again, great players find a way. We just have to make sure to limit her as much as possible.
And also, it's one of those things you can't while you want to focus on her, you can't forget there are other players as well.
No doubt. And she does a great job of getting their role players involved. So, we're going to have to be ready to play. They're going to be excited. Their home opener in conference. They're defending a conference championship, tournament championship. So they're playing extremely well. They've also gone on the road and beat some really good opponents too. At UTEP is a great win. We've got to be ready to play. We've got to be confident in our game plan. We've got to learn from what we haven't done right on the road and be confident in what we have done right on the road and see if we can give ourselves a chance in the fourth quarter.
And as familiar as everybody is with Barrios, having been there for 4 years, I think you're probably equally as familiar with Coach Doobie Plaisance and what she likes to do.
Yeah, no doubt. Doobie's always done what she's done. Love her to death. And so she presents challenges because of that 2-3 matchup. It's very difficult to figure out their rules and things, so you have to just make sure you have a lot of player movement, make sure you try and beat it down in transition. Offensively, she's going to run a lot of good plays for Barrios to touch. They're going to run their Princeton Chin offense. So she's just going to do what they do. She's confident in it. Those players are confident in it. When you have confident players in a system that has been run for a long time, you're going to be faced with a difficult challenge, and we know that, but we're ready for it.
And you mentioned your identity is turning people over, turning that in offense. And when you play against a half-court team, you always want to try to heat them up a little bit and get out, as you mentioned, ahead of that 2-3 zone. Don't let them set up. Absolutely.
We're going to have to run both ways. We're going to have to create tempo both ways. We're going to play 11, 12 people. Jada's now back. So we're going to have to do what we've been doing. It's what I said in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter in Texas, is the game has been decided here, but we want to continue to do what we're going to do the rest of the season. So we cranked that pressure up. We went to our run and jump. We were trapping ball screens, things of that nature to try and create offense. And it's amazing when you do that, how much easier the half-court offense comes. And that's what happened in that fourth quarter. And hopefully we can keep that rolling tomorrow night.
You look ahead, you'll get back from Thibodaux Wednesday night / Thursday morning. Have a couple of days to get ready for McNeese. And I know playing at home, it goes without saying, everyone should feel more comfortable at home. And I think this team does. They're getting better on the road, but certainly at home, Even though a tough loss to ULM, I think that maybe refocused this team as to what home court advantage can mean.
I think it did, and we talked about it on the bus on the way back, that your goal, especially in conference, should be to defend every home court game, and then hopefully go 500 on the road. If you do that, you'll finish top 4 in your league. And knowing that McNeese is coming in, it's a rival game. What they did to us last year, that should fuel the fire. You can throw records out, what's gone on in the past, all that when it comes to conference games. Records mean nothing. It's all about your preparation and who's ready to play that day. And I know Casey will have her team ready to go on Saturday. A very tough physical team, especially on the glass, which is a weakness for ours right now, and one that we've been concentrating on all week.
I think they've had some turnovers. We mentioned talking about Nichols with Barrios. Seems like she's been there forever. It looked like some new names on that McNeese team, so some of those familiar faces have kind of moved along and graduated. So more of her team now, I think, in her third year, similar to the time you came in.
Yeah, and they're going to do what she wants them to do as hard as they can possibly do it. You know, that you look at some of the film, and they've had some rough patches, but again, you can throw all that out. They're learning just like we're learning. You look at the film at ULM, that they played ULM at their place to an 8-point game. So she's going to have them ready. They're always a tough physical team, especially on the glass. That's always been their identity. And so we better make sure that we step up. But first things first, we got to take care of Nichols.
And again, as you mentioned, the one thing you can do, they turn over, they can't shoot, they can't rebound.
That's true, and that's the way that we've got to approach it. Still trying to get better in the half court on both ends, offensively and defensively. But we're at our best right now when we create chaos, when we change up defenses, where we don't show where we're doubling from. We go full court, half court. So we try and keep teams off balance, make sure we stay fresh as far as playing 11 or 12, and hopefully keep teams out of their scheme and them being comfortable. Once teams are comfortable, they're able to execute. So our job is to make them uncomfortable as much as possible.
And I think that one, the McNeese game we're talking about now, the one of the first 4 that are at home, so even more importance on winning at home, but a chance to play early at home. Last year you had 3 of your first 4 at home. Yeah. This year it reverses, so very key to get that one, because after that you head down to Corpus Christi and Stephen F. next weekend. So not really, it's hard to say the second one's a must-win, but it's one that you'd certainly like to have in your back pocket.
There's no doubt, and us as coaches, we think every one of them is a must-win. The preparation is always the same, but again, you always want to defend home court. You want to have opponents come in and say, man, that's a tough place to play, and that's a hard-nosed, tough-minded team. And so that's what we're trying to establish. But we're taking it one day at a time right now. As coaches, you look ahead, but as a coach to your players, you try and get them to focus one day at a time. And our job is just to have a good practice today and a good film session tonight. And so we're just going to take it one day at a time. And I think if you do that and you get lost in the process, you'll eventually get the results that you want.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you.